All right, Melania Trump wrapping up her first solo international trip with a clear message to the biased media.
That's very important, what I do, what we're doing with U.S. aid, and what I do with my initiatives. And I wish people would focus on what I do, not what I wear.
The First Lady referring to the biting press coverage of her clothing during high-profile trips, including yesterday's hat, criticized as colonial style. Here to react, GOP strategist Kimberly Glasick. Kimberly, welcome.
Good morning.
So I have to say, I'm gonna take a little bit of a different stance with Melania. If you don't want people to talk about your clothes, stop looking so fabulous, right? I mean, I'm sorry, right?
I know, right? I know, it's bad. So when we talk about media bias, we usually talk about the president, but media bias is most evident with our First Lady, Melania Trump. I mean, if you think about it, the left has a missed opportunity here. They could say, look, we have our first immigrant First Lady in the White House. It's Melania Trump. So obviously, our immigration system isn't broken. It works just fine. Look at her journey. But instead, they can't get past the fact that she's both beautiful and intelligent. To them, they're mutually exclusive. And so for me, with this trip to Africa, it's another missed opportunity. You saw so many publications writing about what she was wearing or whether or not she likes President Trump's tweets when they should have been talking about the pressing issues in Africa.
Well, Kimberly, let me ask you this. How much do you believe, how important do you believe it is that she's finally taking her critics head on and speaking out and speaking up for herself?
Yeah, no, I think it's great. I mean, think about it. Our First Lady, she could speak 7 languages fluently, right? So she could address her haters in so many different ways, but she chooses not to. But this time she finally did say something, and I'm happy that she did. She stood up for herself and said, focus on my work, don't focus on my clothes. And she's right about that. I mean, think about it. Michelle Obama once said, do not wait for someone to tell you that you're special. And I agree with that. And I love that she's still doing a lot of great work despite negativity.
All right, let's look at what she is doing. She visited Ghana, Malawi, Kenya, Egypt. She visited schools, embassies, hospitals, an orphanage. I'm sorry. Yeah. I know this segment is that she doesn't want us to talk about her clothes, but she did it all in style, didn't she?
She did. She looked great. And that's all we heard about. You know, it's almost as if the left thinks the American public is either really shallow or really stupid, and all we care about are her clothes.
We can do both. I think your point is we can talk about the great work she's doing, and we can be proud of the fact that she really makes us all look good. She is definitely her own person, and it is interesting that she's fighting back and taking on her critics head on, right?
Absolutely. Yes, I agree.
Kimberly, I was in Texas, down on the border near El Paso, when she came down because the children were being separated from their families, and it was a very important moment. Do you believe that as she takes on her critics, it'll help elevate, whether she's in Africa or the Texas border, it'll help elevate her impact on these issues?
I think so, but I don't know, because there's just so much bias. It's almost like no matter what she does, no matter what the president does, they just don't want them to win. They don't want them to look like that they're in a positive light or to shine in any way. So I think she should just press forward, do what she's doing. People like myself and you, we all know that she's doing a great job, and we don't have to read the New York Times or anything else to find out about what she's wearing tomorrow.
Well, Kimberly, very early on, they said, do not normalize the left, the media, they said, don't normalize this family. And I think Melania, despite doing a fabulous job, and as I continue to say, doing it in style, despite doing that, she is taking they are focusing on her, and they're not going to give her a break. And she's just got to plow forward and do what she's doing, because it's just not going to happen. It's 2 years in. So, all right, Kimberly, thanks for joining us. Thanks for bringing it to our attention. And you did great.
Thanks, Kimberly. Much appreciated.
Thanks.
And you know, it's fascinating, too, because she's an immigrant, whether she's in Africa or in the Texas-Mexico border. They understand the importance of her role as First Lady, being a true immigrant.
Griff, my mom is an immigrant American, and she has a special connection with Melania because of that, and I'm sure lots of other people do.